Welcome back to the Aspin shed once again. Unfortunately I haven't done anything for a bit. We've had some real trouble at mill in the family. Unfortunately my son was taken into hospital with heart failure, which was nice, but he has recovered and his heart is on the mend, so it's all good. But I haven't been able to think about any four-stroke engines for a couple of months now, but I have done something this last week and I'll just share it with you now. The four-cylinder engine has got as far as the block with four liners. I've got four conrods and I've got the crankshaft mounted in the crankcase on bearings, two bearings. I've got yet to do a centre bearing for it, but the next thing is going to be the camshaft, and I'm afraid at the moment I'm still recovering my powers of doing things. I just can't put my mind to it at the minute, so in the meantime I occupied myself with something completely different. Ask yourselves, what is it the silly buggers decided to do now? Well, while I was not working on the engine, I was watching a lot of videos and I did see one or two about pen making, and I thought that would be an easy task that I can accomplish without too much brain power, and see if we can make a few pens for Christmas. Now, I haven't got a wood lathe, but I've got a metal lathe, and I haven't seen anybody on YouTube at the minute make a pen on a metal working lathe. Well, that's what I'm going to do. Well, that's what I've done. I've done a few. This is one of the pens. Hold it up to the light. And they're made from a standard pen kit which can be bought on eBay for a few pence, and then all you're actually doing is making the wooden barrel. So I did buy one or two kits, and the only tooling I bought I'll show you now. Right, I bought I forgot what it is. It's for I forgot what it does. I think I'll start again. Right, the first tool I bought was a barrel trimmer. I'll explain what that does in a minute or two, and a mandrel to mount the pen blanks on. That's a pen blank. This is a pre-drilled one. I'm now making my own, but yeah, so that's to mount in the lathe. At one end in the chuck I've put a centre in the other end, so I'm running it between centres. You have to do a bit of fiddling to straighten up the pen at the mandrel, because they're usually a bit cattywampus and wiggling about, but using a dial gauge you can knock them back into shape in the lathe, and so that runs true now. What else? Oh yeah, if you buy one and you're working with a metal lathe, you don't need the Morse 2 taper holder, which I bought, so you can get away with it cheaper by just buying a mandrel. Using the metalworking lathe you can machine various types of woods, and you can buy various types of woods for your pen blanks. That one's black iron wood. That one is jackaberry, the well-known tree we all know and love. Oh, that's black iron wood again. That blank I showed first of all was olive wood. And so I've been making a few pens out of them. And you can also machine acrylic, and I've got a few bits of acrylic I've been bought here. Oh, sorry, there's the square one, but they come in round billets as well. And what I'm going to make a pen out of now, as a demonstration that it can be done on a metalworking lathe with no problems at all, is I'm going to be using bogwood. Now this isn't bogwood as everybody knows bogwood. This bogwood refers to an old toilet seat which was made out of hardwood, and I've just stripped it up. So this is what I'm going to be making my pen out of, which is bogwood. For those uninitiated, bog in the English vernacular in the UK refers to a toilet. Also a marshy area where they get bogwood from, I imagine, but for the purposes of this demonstration we're actually using toilet wood. Right, as I say, we're going to make a pen out of bogwood. One other point was on the mandrel, it comes with bushings, or you have to buy bushings. The pen we're going to be making is the slimline pen, and I think these bushings are about 8.5mm. The beauty about having a metalworking lathe is, of course, you can make your own bushings, and you have to make bushings to different sizes for the different types of pen. These, as I say, are for the slimline and are about 8.5mm. You need 3 bushings, one for each end, those two, and one in the middle which you make a bit longer to give you a space in between the two parts of the blank, which you'll see in a minute or two. So that's sorted that out. The next thing to do is we need to cut 2 blanks for the slimline pen, both the same size, and I'm cutting them at 60mm. So we set the old caliper to 60mm. That looks reasonably square, and I just mark off 2 60mm sections like that. You can't see, can you? Neither can I. And I'll mark another one there. I'll try to mark another one there. That's it, we've got 2 marks on there. I don't know if you can see them. Those are 60mm. 60mm is quite a bit oversized. The brass tubes that come with the pen kits are 52mm, so 60mm is given a bit of clearance on there. So I'll just chop these off in the vise. I'm just using a hacksaw for that. So I'll be back in a minute with the 2 raw blanks. Right, I've chopped them off, and we've got 2 rough blanks for the top and bottom of the pen. So the next job is take them to the mill, square them up a bit, and drill 2 7mm holes right through. Right, what we need to do, as I say, first of all is square the ends of the blanks without dropping anything on the floor. Right, so what I do, I'm just putting a little packing piece in the bottom of the jaws, and then these two. Well, one thing I probably should have done, which I'm going to do now, is just line up the grain and mark it. I'll stop for a minute and come back again. Where's the thing? Right, we're just going to square up these two blanks. One thing I didn't mention before was just before you cut them through the middle, just put a mark on them to indicate the grain so it matches up, and when you put the pen together, theoretically you can line the grain up so it looks better. So these are the two faces I'm going to square first. I've got a bit of packing piece in the bottom of me vise, and the beauty about this compared with metalworking is you don't have to think about it. So just roughly line those two up. Because I just want to take those two faces are going to meet, so I just want to square them up. That's it. Whack in a 10mm cutter or any other cutter. Move the table over. Probably should have done this first, but I didn't. Make sure they're on the bottom of the vise. Contact. Bit of speed. Lower down to the job. I've got power feed on my Z and I've got power feed on the X on this machine. That's it. Touch off. Put a bit of a cut on, by the way. Square now. Turn it round in the vise. And this is why I found the job easy. You just don't have to think about it. It is easy peasy. Doesn't require any brain work or any expertise. Not that I'm taking it away from wood turners, but well, this pen's going to look quite good because this toilet seat was made up with planks. I seem to have got a joint running through the middle, so that's going to be interesting when we come to put a hole in it. I see how well the pieces were stuck together. The blank will look quite good, I should think. There we go again. Touch off. Put a cut on. All we're doing is just whispering it, so we're not taking very much off the length, and we have got a few millimeters to play with. So there we go. There's a square now. I'll set up for drilling the holes and I'll come back. But I don't know if you can see on there, you can see the joint in the wood, so it's going to look quite nice when it's turned. But I think it's oak. Well, it is oak, but it's bog oak. Right, I've set the blank up in the jaws. I've got a little V block at the back of it, and obviously the front fits in the V of the jaw, so that holds it vertical. My blanks are not very accurate. Normally the blanks you buy, I think, are about 19mm square. These are odd sizes. I don't know what they are exactly. I will tell you now. We're working with 20 by 21, so the nearly square. So I've mounted it in the jaws with me pencil mark on this side here, and I've just eyeballed it. You can, if you want, square it and centre pop it and all the other things, but I don't think there's any need on this job for that. Eyeballs is good enough. So away we go. The drill is wandering a little bit because of that joint. But it can be off centre with these. Obviously it's wise to keep it as close to the centre as you can. We've gone all the way through. I'll just check, I'll come back. Yes, we've gone through by a country mile. I just didn't feel it come through. So we'll take that one out. I think I'll just pop the drill out to do it. Pop him out. And where's my mark there? Pencil mark, pop him in by there. And I'm just going to drill it as is. It still looks roughly in the middle. Feel that one go through either. Anyway, there we go. We've got two blanks now. Pop him back where he came from. Right. Oh dear, he's off a bit. They're both off a bit. Both alright that side. But they look a bit off that side, but it doesn't matter. I've got enough meat around here. It will be perfectly okay. Next job is to super glue the brass tubes into the blanks. Right, we've got our two blanks. The marks that end, and what we're going to do is fit these two brass tubes that come with the pen kits, and This is all I've learnt off the internet as usual, but obviously, as we know, the brass tube will have a film on it, and so the super glue, or whatever you call it, works properly or gets a grip. Just roughen up the tube on a bit of sandpaper, comme ça. Just scuff it up. It takes a few seconds. It's great for taking the skin off your fingers. Right, suitably scuffed up. Right, next step, most important. Just drop something on the floor. What I'm feverishly trying to do is retrieve 2 gloves from the box. Making a nice wood pen is a good thing, but having it permanently glued to your hand is not so good. Health and safety warning. Do not glue pens to hand permanently. Right, I'm ready to operate. Quite simple. I've got some activator, and I've got some CA glue. This is thick, like me. And all I do, and again with all these videos I do, it's all what I do. It's not what any sane person does, but this is what I do. I just put a blob on the inside there, like that. I put a couple of stripes up and down the tube itself. I'll get hold of it, I stick it in, twist it round plenty to spread the glue, and then I push it in, and because this is the ends that are coming together, I just push it below the surface. Only just below the surface. Don't know if you can see that. I can't see it. Just below the surface. Put that down. Get the other one, again with the pencil mark. Put a squirt in there. Put some up and down the brass, like that. Spin it round in the hole or tuft, and pop him in and just push him just below the surface, like that. Right, those two are done. A little spray of kicker or activator, which stinks to high heaven. Oh god, it's horrible. Right, done. Once you've done that and you've put your top back on your CA glue, is what you must do is you get your fig biscuit and you have a bite. Next we go back to the drilling machine and we use the, whatever I called it before, the pen mill barrel trimmer. And what that does, it squares up the end of the blank to the tube, and that's why it doesn't matter too much about a bit of run out. Right, so we'll take that to the milling machine and set up for that. Sorry, I didn't press record. I've just been using the trimming tool and drilling down until you just see the brass tube both sides. So you missed it, my fault, but there's the two blanks now with the tubes inserted, super glued in and trimmed down to the barrel. The next thing is to fit them on the pen turning arbor thing. So we'll go and do that now, and maybe I might remember to press record. Right, we're ready to fit them onto the arbor, and one thing I use is a deburring tool just to clean the ends of the brass tube out, and it's a useful tool doing this job, and a bit later I'll show you how useful it is. I don't know if I haven't got any glue in the tube, so it's all going to go together. So I start, obviously I've got the nut on the end, I've got a spacer, and then I got the first of the 8.5mm thingies. So the one that's really off centre, that one we'll use on the front. We'll put that one there, and we put a longer ferrule. The next one, bushing. There's another 8.5mm bushing, and I put a spacer on because we're going to have the 3-jaw chuck on this end. So that's all set up on there now. Now we take it to the lathe. Blimey, Bill, I'm getting useless at this. Right, here we go. Tighten the chuck up because it's going to be pushing that bushing against the chuck, and I'll just nip it up with the nut on the end. You don't need a great deal of force, it's just to trap these so they'll turn a little bit more, so they won't turn on the mandrel. I think that should be enough. Right, and bring me centre in like that. Just check the pressure on it. You just need it locating on the end of the mandrel. You don't need any pressure, just locating will do. So when we've done that, we're ready to turn. High speed is recommended, and what I used to turn them with to start with is I've got one of these carbide round tools, which is ideal for this job. And this is what I'm going to bring it down to 12mm first of all, which is a pretty straightforward job. Some of this wobble is the bushings and other things. Sometimes it runs straighter than others, but it doesn't cause me any problems. So in we go until it touches, wind it off. I take a mil off at a time, and here we go. no problems doing this. And you can do the same. Oh, that's the first time it's done that. Stop. After tightening up a bit. Back up. There's my bandana. If I didn't know better, I'd say that had come loose. What we've got, might have to have another cut yet. So. I'm 3/10 over, so we'll just take that off if we can. 150. Slightly under and slightly over with these pens. Yeah, should be that one out. And I like to put a bit of a finger rest or a grip on the pen. So I start to form that now. This should be 12mm now, or near it is. Damn it, is the swearing. Yeah, we're 1/10 over. So I like to bring a collar down to 10mm. So I'll just dial in another mil like that, and I'll just back up a bit to form the diameter. Now the next bit, we have to form with some chisels or A-chisels. When I first started I just used an ordinary wood chisel, it did the same, but I have got a gouge and a... Oh, my brain's gone dead again. One of them. So what I do now is take my cutter out, and I've put a bar in another holder, and I drop that on like that, and I can manoeuvre it up to there, and that's about as far in as it goes, which is enough for what I need to do. Now, how can I form these with you in the way? We'll give it a go. This is the front of the pen, or the tapered end of the pen. So I put a taper on this that runs nearly at full length. And I want to go in here to form the finger rest, or whatever you like to call it. Pretty simple, there's nothing difficult about it. Just want to make that a bit narrower. Don't want to go too deep. And now to take some of the tooling marks out, I use a skew chisel, virtually flat faced on the work, and just gently take it up. I wish you weren't standing there, you're in my way. Just take it up and down a few times. Gently remove as much of the tooling mark and get it straight cut. So that's that bit. Then take these ends down to the bushings. Like that. And like that. It's still in the way. Now I'll go in with the other chisel just to get right up to the bushing and finalise that curve gently with the skew chisel. Like that. Come around and do this the opposite end. And then I need to move the rest back together with back end. Like that. Skew chisel. Just trying to take some of the tooling marks off. Actually, the whole process can be done in one continuous operation. Next thing we need is a bit of sandpaper. This is 280 grit I'm using first. Oh, I haven't formed the other end, just the other end right. Hang on. You're not being very helpful. So once that's done, I can remove my rest. And go in with the sandpaper. To do is just fold the end of the sandpaper up and get right into the corner by the bushing. Just a bit off. Be careful not to pull any metal off the bushing because it makes a mess of the wood. Oh, hardly then. Be careful with your truck. As I say, don't do as I do. Not really safe then. It's only because you're in the bloody well all the time, that's what's causing the problem. See what we've got now. Got a bit of open grain, but that could be the joint in the wood that we saw. Right, now the next part of the process after sanding, I use Scotch-Brite. I haven't seen anybody else use Scotch-Brite, but it's what I use. It gets hot, it puts a bit of a burnish on it. A bit more open grain this wood than I'd like. See the open grain there. Right, next job is to get a bit of paper towel fold it into a pad. And oh, you've got to have a tinner for this finish. You can finish them in CA glue if you want, but I don't like that. I've got cellulose sanding sealer going back to my aero modelling days. Used to drink this stuff as a kid. So we slow the machine down. And we've got to try and fill some of that now with sanding sealer. The bit on the paper towel. And apply it thus. So apply a few coats of this. Putting on a bit thicker than usual because of that open drain. Leave that to dry for a second and I'll come back. It's getting a bit long. Right, hopefully that's dried. I've got a bit of 1200 grit wet and dry. I don't think it has dried yet. No, it hasn't. It's thicker than I normally do. I'll have to wait another couple of minutes. Have another go. This is just to denib it. Again, I stress this is the way I do it. I don't want anybody copying me and getting hurt. Give it a bit of Scotch-Brite now. speed it up a bit to burnish it a bit. So look what we've got now. Well, I haven't filled all the grain by any means, but for this experiment that's going to do. You can work up a better finish than that. It's just a pity it had so much open grain on it. This is shellac, friction build shellac, and I use that bit of that to get a bit of a polish on it. I'll put the lid back on the cellulose thinners. I'll be as high as a kite in here. I'm not going to go for a full finish with this because the grain is open and it'll be a bit rubbish. So we'll just put a bit of a shine on it. A bit of a highlight coming now. I don't know if that's noticeable on the camera. From where I am I can see a highlight. Alright, we'll call that cut for that one. Next job is to make a pen out of it. So it's back to the bench. Oh crap, can't move it. Persuader. Go. There it is. Right. Back to the bench. And here we are, having walked all the way from the lathe to the bench, which is at least 1.5 paces. This is what we've got. Next thing is to make a pen out of it. So take the bushings off like that, and then pop them back on so you don't lose them. As I say, I've made quite a few different sized bushings for different pens with the lathe. Make sure there's nothing on the ends. And this is where this tool comes in again, because I give it a good roam round like that, because the next procedure, the pen assembly, they all say you've got to have a pen press, and you do this and you do that and you do the other. But what it boils down to is that they're actually very easy and quick to assemble. Just ream them out a bit like that. Now I'll get the pen kit And today we can have any colour we like as long as it's gunmetal, because I've got nowhere else. So that's the pen kit. Those are the 2 tubes I've already used from another kit. Put them back in the drawer. One thing to note is most of these inks, I haven't had one fail yet. I'll probably make 20 pens, but they come with a little bit of sticky stuff on the end, and you've got to remove it. I suppose it keeps the ink fresh, you know, stops them drying out. So make sure you pull that off first. Get all our components out. Oh, I hope this assembles just the same as all the others have for me. Or else I'll have egg on my face, won't I? First ones I did assemble in the vise that's on my mill. It's awkward, but you can do it. You can push the components together. This is the way I like to do it now. So that's the way they line up. I didn't mark them again, but never mind. I think that looks alright. So I'm going to put my clip on first. I picked some muck up off the bushings as well, because I was being super clever. Now, because we reamed the end out with this tool, we put a bit of bevel on it, so that sits nice and square on there. So then I get my special assembly tool and assemble it. Did you like that? So that's on, and now we've got to put the nib on, and I do that in exactly the same method. I stand it up like that, and as I say, because I've reamed it, it seems to balance pretty straight. Just check it, and then application of the pen press. That looks in to me. Right, the next part is the bit that moves the biro in and out to open and close it. I always make sure that it's backed right up so you can see it. And again, I use the same method. These have got a brass ferrule on them, and you can see there's an indentation. That is supposed to be to the drive mark, as far as you drive them in. Any further and your problem. So I drive them just past the brass to test first. So again, in like that. Try and hold it as straight as you can, and this time I don't give it a big thump. I just start it, and that started straight. And now I'm going to take it down to the brass, to the end of the brass ferrule on it, like that. Now I'm going to test with the biro, stick it in, tighten it up, screw it out, and you can see we're only just protruding, but that's better than going too far. So as you can see, we can still see the band. Take it to pieces again, take that out, and we'll drive it up to the band. Got a bit of swarf there, brass swarf from the reaming. Right. One-hundredth. That's just up to that. That's just up to that line. And now we've got the right projection. The other thing we need now is the band out of the kit, and we're nearly there. Push the band on like that, get the other half of the pen, and hey presto, we have a pen. Job done on a metalworking lathe. Right, well that's the finished job. They don't take many minutes to make, and as I say, you can make them on your metalworking lathe. No problem. For some reason, which I can't think of, my wife doesn't want a pen made out of bog oak. So, thanks for joining me in the shed again, and for those who haven't, subscribe, like, dislike. If you don't like it, dislike it. And until the next time, bye for now.